a still person, now we may have to go for chairs.
You want to start? All right, so, you know, I asked you to just share a little bit about what's working for you in your market, in your business. And, I mean, do you mind if I'm a little bit open about our conversation?
I don't know, it depends on how far you go.
You got a little reluctance.
A little bit. I told you that the other day.
What, can you share with me why you had a little bit of reluctance? Just kind of.
Just because I have some very specific goals that I want to accomplish within a very specific time frame, and I've never been very open about sharing those with anybody in the past. And you know, with you and a couple of other individuals now, I've done more of that than I ever have before. It's a little scary to have it out there.
Scary in a good way or scary in a bad way?
Probably scary in a good way, because now I've got accountability from a number of different people that are, you know, looking at what I'm doing.
Okay. Cool. I'll tell you what, let's kind of dive in a little bit. So before real estate, what did you do?
In a nutshell, I sold drugs. Yeah, I was in the drug industry. Diane, were you one of my clients? I worked in wholesale distribution. Thank you. I worked in wholesale distribution within the pharmaceutical industry. Most people don't even realize that that part of the industry exists. They think that Lilly or GlaxoSmithKline or somebody makes a product that miraculously ends up on a pharmacy shelf, and it doesn't work that way. It goes through a wholesale because we negotiate pricing and warehousing and that's it. So I started as a grunt in the field in Southeast Texas and worked up through various positions in various companies, and ended up here in St. Louis as the National Director of Sales and Business Development for a wholesaler based here.
Let me ask you, what tools, what resources were you exposed to in that environment that have helped you contribute to some of your successes in the real estate business?
Probably structured selling programs.
What is that?
Well, I mean, I either received a structured selling program from my management, or I developed one for my salespeople. It's a script-based program where you go out and you stay basically the same time to the same doctor, the same hospital, the same pharmacist every time that you go out. So in that respect, it's very similar to real estate.
And so that worked in that industry?
For a time frame, yeah, for a time period during that time, it did.
So scripts were working in that industry. Did scripts, do they work for you in this industry?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do. I mean, they've got to be modified just as they did that, but yeah, scripts are scripts, they work.
Okay. All right, be it first, aha, guys. So my second thing here is that I've seen you have a high commitment to relaunching your business, you know, and you've got some specific goals. I'll allow you to share what you wish about your goals, but what I've seen a difference. There's a couple things that have been different, you know. I mean, even in, you know, just when you're waking up, you know. So just tell me a little bit about what's changed in your life. Just by first of all, just having a goal. Is that giving you energy, or is it?
Oh, yeah, very much so. I mean, you know, I've always had goals in the back of my head, but I've never been really focused on them. I've never really plugged away toward them, and I've never shared them with anybody.
So were these goals, were they arbitrary, or do they have some purpose behind it? You know, how did you develop the goals?
Well, first I figured out what my big why was that we've talked about before. And once I got to the big why, all the goals kind of lead up to that. Okay. And they're both business goals and personal goals. Okay. And yeah, I don't mind sharing a couple of them with you that are too personal. But my fiscal year starts in September. And my primary business goal is to cap by January 1.
How are you doing in relation to that?
Well, I'm finishing up this year, which has been kind of crappy. So
yeah.
Now I'm focusing on, you know, the next year. I mean, we're already 90 days out, so focusing on the next year, I think I've got a real good shot at achieving it.
Yeah. Looking at the numbers you're tracking to do that.
Yes.
Perfect. So in relation to the first question I had, what are you tracking to do? And you're tracking to hit your goal.
Yes.
Great. So, you know, tell me, once you started making that goal, I mean, you know, there's something that comes with that, discipline and commitment.
Sure.
So, I mean, having a goal, that's one thing, and that's all fun and all that sort of thing. How do you develop the commitment? How do you develop the discipline? What have you done to make sure that you're sticking with that kind of stuff?
I don't know how to tell you that I did it, but I mean, I just got to a point where there are certain things that I know have to be done every day, and I do it. I'm getting up anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour earlier than I ever did before. I'm exercising.
Can I stop there? Because I think that's a really critical one. I know we've talked about this in other environments and stuff like that, but you know, I think one of the #1 excuses that I get, or reasons that I get of something can't be done, is that I don't have time. Did you ever use that excuse or reason? So by getting up an extra half hour, an hour earlier, I mean, are you basically, you're telling me that your commitment to the prioritization of sleep is not as high as the priority of your goals? I'm not saying you want to sleep deprivation, but
It's probably a good way to look at it, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Because I've always known it, but now I realize there's a heck of a lot of stuff I can get done before 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning that I never got done before.
Like what?
Getting my butt out of bed and going to get some exercise somewhere.
Yeah, you might share a little about that one, exercise. So what's important about the exercise to you?
Because one of my other goals is to improve my health.
There's a specific date coming up, right?
I told you not to bring this one up. It makes me crack up every time. Okay, let's do it.
Well, Bob shared with me that his daughter's getting married soon, and he wants to be in great shape and looking perfect for that wedding. Is that pretty? I mean, that's pretty massive, isn't it? I mean, do you think that, you know, that's kind of the linchpin to the commitment and discipline? What do you think? Because it's that important. So, you know, you kind of made, you know, similar linchpin decisions in your business too, right? Is what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
One of the things that you told me that is very critical to you is 2 things: lead generating consistently. Could be one thing. Lead generating consistently.
Right.
What does that mean to you when I say that?
Consistency.
Well, yeah. Consistency or lead generating, however you want to go ahead and come with that.
Well, my target is to do it at least 5 days a week.
Okay.
For whatever period of time that it takes. That's something that I've always known needed to be done, but I've never done it. Not consistently.
So how are you doing with that consistency?
Well, I mean, a lot of these things were commitments that I formed in my own head while I was on vacation. I've been back about 10 days, and 7 out of 10 days I've done lead generation and exercise.
That's awesome. So here's the thing. I mean, you know, you're in our conversation, you're counting your wins. You know, and I think that's pretty great. So, you know, would I be safe to assume that the prior 10 days, you're outperforming the prior 10 days in those 2 areas? So you're setting those habits.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does lead generation mean to you? What are you doing for lead generation, and how are you getting business in the door?
Well, right now I'm doing a lot of focusing on Craigslist, some campaigns there, and I'm also started a letter campaign since I got back to town. That has not produced a great deal so far, but I would expect it to.
You just started.
I did, yeah. I started it last Monday, and I'm sending out anywhere from 10 to 15 letters a day.
Okay. Although, I mean, you've really had a lot of success attracting buyers off of Craigslist. So, would you mind kind of diving into a little bit more detail there of what you're doing? And just let me ask, how many active buyers are you working with right from Craigslist?
Directly from Craigslist now, I've got 4.
4 over the last short while. 4 active buyers.
4 over about the last, I think it's probably 3 to 4 weeks.
So basically, you're averaging basically an active buyer a week, focusing on Craigslist.
Easily.
So easily. Okay.
I didn't mean to say it like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Said easily.
Let me reclassify that too. That's a combination of buyers and investors, if you want to look at it that way.
Well, look at this investors buying.
Buyers buying.
Okay, but I mean,
The paycheck.
yeah, but a buyer is at one price point, and an investor may be at a different one.
I mean, I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, I think investors a great way to annuitize your business. So I wouldn't be shying away from that, right?
I agree.
Right.
So here's my thought. I want to know what you're doing. What are you doing to get a buyer every single week? I mean, to me, that's pretty cool.
I just got a lot of stuff going on there. I mean, there's a lot of ads that I've got out there targeting different categories. I mean, I've even started this week targeting the sellers,
Okay.
which I've not done before via Craigslist.
Since you've got to track with the buyers, what specifically, what type of ad are you sending out there? What's the bait that's getting them attracted to touching base with you?
I'll give away a little secret. I mean, it's no big deal secret, but if you guys are familiar with a program called Listings to Leads, I do a lot of work through them. And some of the ads that you can generate, some of the hooks that you can generate, some of the campaigns you can generate are excellent.
And so, and they can, you go to Listings to Leads, and they can go ahead and get a little bit more information on that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
That's great. So you mentioned investors there too, so how are you attracting some of those investors?
Same thing, just specific campaigns for investors. I've got quite a few of that houses out there that I'm advertising.
You guys catch up?
Yeah.
So you're advertising some HUD homes.
And some foreclosed lists and HUD lists and short sale lists and that type of thing.
And then, so that's the bait that's attracting the investors to contact you.
Right.
You know, so you're coming from contribution, you're offering those types of things, those foreclosure lists or whatever, the hot lists, whatever you want to call them. And that's what they're contacting you. Do you guys have any other?
Well, no, I was just going to say, I've also reached out to some lenders, and some lenders have been good enough to refer some buyers to, some investors to.
So, all right, so that's working as well. Now, I want to dive in here with the Craigslist stuff a little bit. Do you guys have, what questions do you guys have on the Craigslist stuff? Because I think this could be some practical things that you might be able to dive further into. Sue and Diane and Jim.
On marketing, with every listing I have, I'm updating them weekly on Craigslist and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not getting much response. I don't know if it's the hook that's not getting it, if it's the pictures are not good enough, or if it's, I mean, it's hit and miss.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I can tell you the best days to post are Monday, Thursday, and Friday. Beyond that, there are probably better times of the day to post. I'm not totally into that. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what that is.
What type of properties have the most success for you?
Good question.
Right now, it's the investment properties. The stuff that's, the stuff that's available in Florissant and Hazelwood, under 50 grand. I'm getting a lot of response on that. You know, and I've got a listing that's just slightly over 100, but I'm getting some good response on it. So it's, I mean, it seems to be the stuff that's unfortunately is lower priced. I would say probably under 185, 190.
I mean, would it be safe to say some of the just distressed in general?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think that that's a theme that I've seen across the nation. Those distressed properties. That's the honey that's attracting the bees.
Right.
And then from there, you can figure out if they're an investor or a buyer.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds pretty good. Diane?
Are you doing mostly listings, or are you also putting out there what your investor may want on Craigslist?
My investor what?
What your investor may want, maybe it's not on the market yet, are you advertising, hey, does anybody have ... Or is it just listings you're putting out there?
No, but I have started a campaign this week asking, what are you looking for? So, you know, I may be able to get some more people in from that also. Because I can put a teaser list out there, like, you know, these are 13 properties you might want to consider. If this is not what you're looking for, tell me what you're looking for.
Okay.
That's good. So make sure you're using that teaser list there too. I would consider that kind of a contribution again. I think it's pretty cool. Okay. Was there another question over there too? Good. Cool. Anything else on Craigslist stuff? Because I think that's pretty important.
I always think Craigslist takes a lot of time.
It really doesn't, once you get them out there. And I learned a technique in the last couple of weeks too. I've got several Craigslist accounts established. But if you don't use those accounts, if you just go out and post without using your account, then, in fact, you told me this 2 years ago, I couldn't figure it out then. The listings will show up on your phone. Okay, they're not posted yet, but you can get 20 listings on your phone. And as you're walking around doing your stuff during the day, just get one posted.
So do you understand what that means?
No.
So basically, you're time blocking in the morning, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how many posts you're doing. So you're not using your account. It's common practice for everybody that they use their account to go ahead and post. The challenge with that is that when you post in your account, it goes live. Right then. So that's why you see a lot of realtors out there that it's, you know, basically they've got a whole page of all of their listings and then nothing else the rest of the day. So, I mean, as far as maybe kind of figuring out when the best time is there to post, what Bob's doing is he's doing everything in the morning, it's coming up on his phone, and then he can be at a stoplight and he can click post. And then maybe another hour after the appointment, then he can hit post again on the next one. So he's sprinkling his ads throughout the day.
I don't know if everybody knows what you mean by that, but what's happening is you're going to get an email that says, is this ready to go? Because it goes live automatically if you're in your system, but otherwise it'll give you email and you'll have to authorize it. So you can get all those emails and you can just bank them and hold on to them and then like, yeah.
Like drafts.
Yeah, I bet there's gotta be some stuff on KR, the KR website. Some of that tech stuff was awesome, this guy, that 6913. Had a lot of really good stuff about Craigslist and things that, there really is some good things, it's just like you said, and even if you look at it from time blocking, if you're not making phone calls, but that's how you're getting your leads, you know what I mean? That's the way it's still doing.
Yeah, and I'd still consider that lead generation.
Oh, absolutely, it totally is, but you know what, I
I
guess I don't even think about it that way until you just said that all your time, I'm like, yeah, duh, I mean, of course, it's, like handing out flyers and doing all that is, but you just still,
Yeah, if I sit down in the morning.
that's additional time besides.
If I sit down at 7:15 in the morning and create 10 or 12 ads,
Mhm.
I still consider that to be lead generation
Absolutely.
time.
Can I ask you, if you did 10 or 12 ads throughout the course of the day, how many inquiries would you typically expect? What's a benchmark if I'm just starting this, what should I be thinking is fair?
For me, it's all over the board right now because I'm trying to figure out exactly what works.
You're using a lot of different.
Yeah, I'm using a lot of different things, but I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you that I'm posting 12 ads a day, but I probably post 5 or 6 at least. And out of those 5 or 6, I'll probably get at least 10 to 12 hits, and 2 of those turn out to be something that's worth pursuing. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you guys, that's pretty good return on investment as far as time. Pretty cool. Okay, so, that's a big area that you're looking to go ahead and do for lead generation. What are some other things that, you're focusing on as well, as far as lead generation?
As far as lead generation?
Yeah.
I've had really good luck in the past few months with referrals. Agent referrals, actually. There are 2 agents in our market center that refer business to me periodically, refer buyers to me. And by the way, I'm open to that from anybody. And that's worked out really well for me. And I'd like to pursue it with other market centers too.
So what's up with that? So, that might confuse some people as far as why would another agent refer, you business?
In the case of the 2 agents in our office, there's one that just does not particularly like to work with buyers, and one that has enough business that they're willing to refer some of it out.
So basically, your standards, your commitment to your business is at least as high as theirs, if not higher. Otherwise, they wouldn't trust that you're able to take care of the business.
I would say so, yeah. Yeah, because I know I've handled their business, what they consider to be their business. I know I've handled it well.
I can't underscore that enough. I think that's a tremendous way. You can get a ton of business just doing that within the realtor community. I think that's great.
Plus, I've also expanded what I do outside the office. I started having more one-on-one meetings and getting more involved with other aspects of my life outside the business.
Tell me more about that. What are we talking about?
Well, I don't know whether I'm unique, but I've got a group of people that I would call not necessarily friends, but acquaintances that I hang around with on a fairly regular basis. I bet you 90 days ago, 75% of them didn't know what I did for a living. Which is my fault for not just putting it out there in front of them whenever we sit around doing something.
So now you're starting to see some things percolate there?
Yeah.
How does that come up in conversation? Is it just kind of you weave that direction, or what are you doing?
I just start telling people what the market's looking like. Have you seen the latest stats? Do you know what's going on in St. Charles County? Do you have any interest in selling your home? Is there anybody in your neighborhood you think that might want to sell them? Oh, that's right, you're in real estate, aren't you?
Yeah. That's great. Okay. That's cool. So the other thing too that I was kind of keyed in on as well is consistency is a big deal in your world. What are some practical things that you're doing that, as an agent, I could put into play to help me out with my consistency and whatever it is that I'm trying to aspire to do?
For me, like I said earlier, the goal setting's been the biggest thing. Once I've got my goals established, then consistency has not been an issue. I know what I need to do to get to where I'm going to be, and I know what it takes, and consistency is part of what it takes.
So that's the key, that's the critical piece.
For me, it has. Just mentally, it's like a switch being turned in my head. This is where I want to be January 1.
Great.
And this is what I got to do to get there.
That's great. Well, I think that we're in the right place today talking about some of that goal setting. Let me ask you, what are some things that you're changing or things that you're focusing on over the next 6 months to have a massive second half? What are some things that you're doing purposefully?
Just staying focused on my goals and getting my mind right.
What does that that mean to you? I mean, like, when you say focus on your goals, I mean, that could be
Well,
1,000 different things for me.
Yeah, it can, but I mean, there are some things that I realized that I had to do. I don't know whether I consciously realized it or not, but for instance, being a part of this market center. You know, I left here, I gave up my office space and I lived here for about 6 to 8 months. And I just really came unfocused. And then when I got the opportunity to come back, you know, it's been great. Because you get back into the atmosphere. I'm not saying that everybody needs to have an office, but you know, the more time you spend here, the more energy that you pick up.
So the environment makes a difference.
It does to me. You know, I thought I had a nice office at home. I thought I could go home and work, and you know, ended up watching a lot of whatever else in the middle of the day. You know, it just didn't work for me. Daytime radio is just a bit.
That's true. I'll tell you, what other questions do you guys have for Bob right now? And the thing that I love about Bob, I mean, you're relaunching your career, you know, and you're moving quickly in the right direction where you want to go. And I think that's highly relatable. You know, I think people are either at that point where, you know, they're saying, hey, I need to get off the ground and launch, or I'm not hitting my potential, and these are some things I'm feeling. Any other questions? What's one parting thing you would share with the audience? You know, to say, hey, look, over the next 6 months, this is what I'd be focusing on.
Just figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, you know, and set a time limit on it, and figure out what you got to do to get it accomplished. I mean, I know we've all heard that forever and ever and ever, but you know, for me, like I said, once I got it in my head, it made a difference. It made sense.
So what I'm hearing you say is actually make that a priority to figure out what your goals are.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe we're working so hard in our business, we're not working on our business, and don't spend time thinking about, you know, what is important.
Yeah, and you know, prioritize things and organize your day where you can accomplish what needs to be done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Awesome job. Thank you so much. Love it. So I'll tell you what, so Bob was our